Geek Therapy Radio.
Welcome to the Geek Therapy Radio podcast. I am your mental curator, Johnny Hemberger. Quick point of discussion here before we get into the CyberTruck and my issues. A couple points of contention that I have with the CyberTruck. Some hype, some dishonesty. Even though I want the CyberTruck, I think Elon Musk is being a little shady in his marketing, but we'll get into that in a moment. I just want to address one thing about last night's podcast. I feel like I was kind of confusing. I do listen to my podcast at least once in a while, especially after I do a podcast where I think, did I say something confusing in there? So last night I mentioned the quote-unquote backlash against Baby Yoda. I had read a Wired article, an article off Wired.com, that basically was calling attention to the so-called backlash against Baby Yoda. And I had mentioned that backlash was a buzzword because in my research, I didn't see this backlash that Wired was talking about. But I need to be clear with what I meant there because I don't feel like I was clear enough. What I meant was I didn't find any other official articles from reputable publishers in organizations that took Baby Yoda and the Mandalorian to task. What there is a lot of, and what anybody can easily search and find, is this quote-unquote backlash in just comment sections, just average people with their opinions, negative or otherwise, on Baby Yoda, on Mandalorian, just like you can find with anything, about anything, and with anything. So that's what I meant there. There are plenty of sources of this backlash and controversy, what you want to call it, within comment sections, but there was no backlash that I could find through official channels, by official journalists, or by official commentators or critics or anything like that. But the peanut gallery, believe me, is awash, as you could imagine, with their negative opinions or whatever you want to call it on Baby Yoda, or just raining on people's parade by saying that the name Baby Yoda is not really technically true because Yoda had died in Return of the Jedi. Mandalorian takes place a little while after Return of the Jedi. Blah, 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 all the way up into people taking issue with the creation of this Baby Yoda character just as a vehicle to sell Star Wars merchandise, to which I mentioned, and I won't go any further into this because you could hear it in the last podcast, that it's just designed by Disney to sell you stuff. To which I replied, Star Wars has always been a franchise that has sold you stuff. Always. Merchandise of Star Wars is inescapable, so taking Baby Yoda to task as some vehicle by Disney to just sell you stuff, well, that's been going on since the 70s. So anyways, just let's move past that. If you missed yesterday's podcast, you can go back and listen to that podcast where we specifically discussed Baby Yoda and the Mandalorian. So on to the CyberTruck. This weekend, last Saturday night, I devoted an entire show to the CyberTruck because Elon Musk and Tesla had unveiled it late last week. It was I believe it was Thursday night. Yeah, Thursday night that they unveiled the Cybertruck. So of course the internet was all abuzz for the next few days. It's still abuzz about the Cybertruck. There were a few things. Actually, before I get to that, my first gut initial reaction, as you can hear in the podcast of the radio show Saturday night, where I spent the entire 39 minutes talking about the Cybertruck, my initial gut reaction was like many other people's when they first rolled that monstrosity out into the stage. What is this? This is a joke. Elon Musk must be trolling us. There's no way that this thing is real. This is the ugliest vehicle since the Pontiac Aztec or whatever Walter White drove around in Breaking Bad. It is a hideous vehicle. But then, like a lot of other people, the more I looked at it, the more I spent time just researching it and consuming everything Cybertruck and putting together my own video about the similarities between the Cybertruck and the DeLorean. The more time I spent around it and with it in my conscience and psyche and brain, the more I came to the realization, this thing is awesome. I love the way it looks because I hate the way it looks. Does that make sense? It's so ugly that it's lovable. And you could just ask my wife about that because that's basically me in a nutshell. The more I looked at the Cybertruck, the more I thought, dang, I really want that thing. I actually wish it's real. I hope Elon Musk is not just trolling us. I hope this isn't a fake thing. I hope this is what actually comes out. It looks so radical and ridiculous. I want it. I hope by the time it comes out in late 2021, it's supposed to come out in late 2021, so that's a couple years away. Will I still want it? Will we still want it in 2 years from now the way we want it now? What's going to change about it between now and then? Is what was showcased and unveiled last Thursday going to be the final product? What the final product looks like? Yes, I know there has to be software tweaks. There's going to be some possible hardware tweaks, but on the whole, is that what we're going to get? I would be led to believe that if judging on Tesla's previous track record, the car we see in its debut is the same car, more or less, than what is released a year or two later. So the Tesla Model 3, virtually exactly the same as what was debuted initially. Tesla Model Y, to my knowledge, has not been altered at all. Tesla Model Y comes out soon. Model S, Model X, every time they're showcased, and start pre-ordering now because it's coming out in a year or two, that's been with the final product. The prototype has pretty much been the final product, at least in terms of looks. In fact, the final product is only improved upon. It only gets better from the prototype. Teslas apparently only get better as you own them. With over-the-air updates, they're making them faster. They can do system tweaks and software tweaks to it to make the experience better for the driver. I will say right now, and I should comment on this, this is a good point to mention this, Apple has nothing on the cult-like atmosphere that Tesla has. And I am not denigrating Apple. I'm not saying their products are inherently horrible or anything like that. I've taken Apple, obviously, you know, you've listened to Geek Therapy Radio. I've taken Apple to task several times on a product-by-product individual basis. The blind cult-like atmosphere surrounding Tesla owners is honestly, I've never got like the sinking feeling in my gut, lump in my throat when I hear people talk about Apple the way you see people talk about Tesla. Tesla owners tweeting to Elon Musk, "Thank you for the privilege of being able to purchase one of your vehicles." Are you kidding me? What? That is so cultish. Thank you for taking $80,000 of my dollars. Thank you for the privilege of letting me give you $80,000 for this. Holy crap, that is some Florence Nightingale, whatever you call it, Stockholm syndrome. That's exactly how to describe it. This Stockholm Syndrome stuff. The Tesla cult is like Stockholm Syndrome. You're falling in love with your captor. And I know that, no, this is not Tesla or Elon Musk forcing anyone to buy their product. And maybe that is a testament to the product that people love the product on basically borderline religious amount of fanaticism. That part is weird to me. If I ever do buy a Tesla CyberTruck or any Tesla, I'll be cold and dead in the ground before you ever hear me preaching to the God of Elon Musk or to the divine at Tesla. Never will I ever do that. I can't imagine doing that. I can imagine saying, wow, this product is really cool. Here's features I like about the product. Here's some things I don't like about the product. Overall, the product is really great. I can go to that extent, but never will it just be this blind cult idol worship of Tesla. If I wind up getting a Cybertruck and it is defective or the experience is horrible, there will be no Stockholm Syndrome here forcing me to, or deceiving me into loving it. Oh, well, Tesla made this. This is a brainchild of Elon Musk. I have to love it. I have to love it. Have to love it. I do love it. I do love it. I do love it. There are 4 lights. Star Trek. My geek brain that's taken from 1984. The book 1984. The brainwashing stuff. Anyways, okay, so that is a relative tangent. That is a tangent relative to, related to the discussion here. As much as I've come around to initially liking the Tesla, the Cybertruck, as much as I'm on board, as much as I would love to pre-order one, as much as maybe one day I would hope to have one, because a stainless steel truck, EV, next to my stainless steel DeLorean, that driveway is a nerd's dream, is a geek fantasy. So that would be awesome to have 2 stainless steel vehicles. My next vehicle, daily driver, I already want to be an EV. As I've mentioned before, we are new homeowners now, so a pickup truck would be very useful. So the fact that my first EV could be a pickup truck that is stainless steel like the DeLorean and looks like the DeLorean in many ways and doesn't look like anything else on the road and is so ugly that it's beautiful. Sure, I would love to have a Cybertruck, but we'll cross that road when we get to it. I do want to bring up at least a couple things that I think is, I'll just say it, deceitful about Tesla in regards to the Cybertruck. These are only 2 things. If you follow my friend Matt Farah on Twitter, I've had Matt Farah on the show a few times, the Smoking Tire, talking about his Lamborghini Countach. I've talked cars and DeLoreans with him early on in the show. Just go back through the podcast, and you'll be able to find the podcast I've had and the shows that I've had Matt Farah on. Good friend of the show. Good guy. But he takes Tesla to task almost every single day. He's been toning it down in the past couple days because he's basically just tired of it. There's just so much there to pick apart about Tesla in his eyes, and so many shady practices that he perceives Tesla to be undertaking. I get it. I'm just saying, if you want a professional Tesla critic, if you want to hear the opinion of a professional Tesla critic, follow Matt Farah on Twitter. He's got nothing short to say about it. And it's substantiated. He does have evidence for it. He backs up his argument. I'm kind of in the middle. I don't have all that data in front of me and all that research in front of me to be categorically negative of Tesla. And I'm not saying that Matt Farah is. He has conceded. I don't want to put words in his mouth, but basically at the end of the day, his opinion in so many words is that it's your money, buy a Tesla if you want. But he and I both kind of side towards like this Tesla worship is really weird. This religious Tesla experience is really freaking strange. So as much as I want the Cybertruck, as cool as I think the Cybertruck is, let's talk about those two things. First and foremost, the thing that's bugging me the most, and what's bugging a lot of other people, a lot of other car critics, a lot of other car journalists, what have you. So Elon Musk keeps tweeting the current count of pre-orders on the Cybertruck. So his first tweet was 147,000 pre-orders on the Cybertruck. Okay, that's great. Quickly followed a day or two later, 48 hours later or whatever, 200,000 pre-orders on the Cybertruck. All right, that's great. But that's deceitful, and I'll tell you why. Very deceitful. Pre-ordering a Cybertruck means you put $100 down. And I'm thinking about it because it's $100. Pre-ordering a Tesla Model Y or when you could pre-order the Tesla Model 3 or Model S, you were talking well over $1,000. I believe pre-ordering the Tesla Model 3 was $1,000 or $1,500. Pre-ordering any Tesla model was always over $1,000. It's unprecedented that the Cybertruck only requires $100. I'm looking at the Tesla website right now. I'm looking at the Roadster. To pre-order the Roadster, I'm going to do verbatim off of Tesla's website right here. Founders Series Roadster reservations require an initial $5,000 credit card payment plus a $245,000 wire transfer payment due in 10 days. Reservations are not final until the wire transfer payment is received. You got to pay for this thing before it's in the real world, before they're shipping them. $245,000, $250,000 total within 10 days for something that isn't in our universe yet. That doesn't exist. You can't go to the Tesla factory and say, put together a Roadster for me for $250,000. They're not set up for it yet. They will be soon. But the fact that you could spend $250,000 on a car that doesn't exist yet, that isn't in a dealership, that isn't in a showcase somewhere, isn't in a showroom. It'd be like ordering a Ford pickup truck, and they say, okay, before you even get here, we want $35,000. Also, it's not coming out till next year, but we want full payment up front. That's crazy. So it doesn't matter. Maybe the Roadster wasn't the best example there, but the point is, putting a deposit down on a pre-order for a Tesla has always been well over $1,000. The Cybertruck is the first Tesla product that the pre-order has been $100. Way more people. It's more refundable, by the way. Completely refundable, $100. Way more people are going to pre-order and reserve their Tesla Cybertruck at $100 than at $1,000. So when Tesla and Elon Musk go onto social media and harp the unprecedented amount of pre-orders, they're not telling you that it's at $100. Because I guarantee you there would not be 200,000 pre-orders if the pre-order price, the deposit was $1,000. It would be half that, if not a quarter of that. Yes, previous models of Tesla have done really well within the first 48 hours. The Tesla Model Y and Model X and everything, Model S, those pre-orders were over 100,000 within the first few days of launch and announcement. Yes. The Cybertruck is so polarizing, though, that it's hard to believe that they would be over 100,000 pre-orders. That said, though, the way the Cybertruck messes with my mind is that sometimes I say things like, I don't think it'd be way over 100,000 pre-orders at $1,000 deposit. Then I think people are interested in the Tesla Cybertruck that aren't normally interested in trucks. There is an army of geeks that express, not just geeks, but people from every walk of life. Casey Neistat is one of these people. He very famously went on Twitter and said, I have no need for another truck. It's going to cause a fight with my wife, but I just pre-ordered a Cybertruck. Marquez Brownlee is the same way. He says he doesn't need a truck. He does not need another vehicle. He really doesn't like trucks. These people who don't actually like trucks typically are ordering the Cybertruck because it is so crazy, so out there, so different. You are getting that crowd. So while part of me says I doubt there'll be 100,000 pre-orders for this if it wasn't at $100, part of me thinks, well, maybe there would be. Either way, we don't know. That's what it all boils down to. If Musk put the pre-order price, the deposit at $1,000 or above, you know for sure that it would be less than 200,000 pre-orders, but we don't know by how much. But we do know that it would be less. That is for certain. The fact that it's such a low cost of pre-order to get on the list helps boost those numbers disingenuously, I will just say. The second task I would like to take the Cybertruck to task with, sorry to be repetitive, or Tesla to task with regarding the Cybertruck, is they did a demonstration of it pulling a Ford F-150 uphill. So in this demonstration, they have the two vehicles strapped together with a tow strap. The F-150 sits there spinning its wheels, spinning its tires, creating a lot of smoke, while the Tesla Cybertruck just sits there planted, not budging. And then the Tesla Cybertruck pushes on the accelerator and pulls the F-150 uphill with the F-150's tires spinning and creating smoke. Okay, let's pick that apart. The Tesla Cybertruck... Sorry, there are people walking outside my window. It's really annoying when that happens. The Tesla Cybertruck outweighs the Ford F-150 by quite a bit. And off to the Google, well, how much does the Tesla Cybertruck weigh? Let me pause this real quick. Well, Tesla's website does not list how much the Cybertruck is going to weigh, but by many estimates, it's going to be over 6,000 pounds. There's a lot of batteries in there. That's a side effect of battery packs, is that they weigh a lot. There's a lot of them in there. So 6,000 pounds is pretty much a very conservative estimate as to how much the Tesla Cybertruck is going to weigh. My daily driver, that 2010 Audi S5, weighs over 5,000 pounds itself, and it's a two-door coupe. So to say the Tesla Cybertruck weighs over 6,000 pounds is not any stretch of the imagination. What we do know for a fact, though, and that's easily accessible, is the 2019 Ford F-150 curb weight is between 4,000 and 5,500 pounds. So the Ford F-150 in the demonstration was only a two-wheel drive. The Cybertruck was a four-wheel drive, all-wheel drive. The Ford F-150 was a two-wheel drive, meaning that since it wasn't a four-wheel drive package, that it was on the lower end of the spectrum, closer to 4,000 pounds, outweighed by the Tesla Cybertruck, and down two driving wheels. It was not a fair comparison. The F-150 also had nothing in the bed of the truck. It had no weight back there pressing down on the driving wheels. The physics tilted the Cybertruck's way from the get-go. It was not a fair comparison. That said, the ultimate reason why all this is dumb, why it's such a... the deceit didn't even make sense, is that it didn't need to be deceitful. The torque generated by electric motors is well known to far, far surpass that of even diesel engines. If the point was to showcase the power of one over the other, the electric motors in the Cybertruck would outperform the gasoline engine, put out more power, more torque, than the gas engine in the Ford F-150. Matter of fact, 4,000 pounds, the Tesla Model S weighs more than that and has all-wheel drive. The Tesla Model S family sedan would have pulled that Ford F-150 uphill. So the test didn't need to be deceitful. You could have won the test on your own merits. Instead, now Tesla has welcomed all this controversy onto that test for no reason. None of it makes sense. So they're hyping it. So the $100 pre-order, $100 deposit on the pre-order, and the deceitful displays of power that were unnecessarily deceitful kind of casts a little pall on the Cybertruck and Tesla. It's not doing itself any favors here with those practices. I will reserve my judgment, my final judgment, for later. After all, it is at least 2 years before we see the Cybertruck for real on the streets, before it's available for purchase. That's the fact of the matter. And a lot can change in 2 years. I bet my bottom dollar that very soon here we'll see another test with the Cybertruck versus a four-wheel drive pickup truck, a more equal setup in that regard. So that one's easily fixable. The deceitful kind of hype to pre-orders, that's less fixable. They could up the pre-order price, up the deposit to $1,000, and we'll see how the pre-orders taper off then. But it's kind of too late now. It's going to be too late to get. They know what they're doing. They know what they're doing with this little hype train here. But it just kind of leaves a bad taste in my mouth. It's just kind of funny why Tesla thinks it has to go about it the way they're going about it. What do you think about that? I would sure love to hear from you. GeekTherapy at iHeartMedia.com. The link is also in the podcast description, but GeekTherapy at iHeartMedia.com. That is my email address to reach me directly. I'd like to know what you think about the Cybertruck in general, about the Tesla, or about Tesla in general, Elon Musk in general. Do you think he's been a little bit sneaky and shady? Do you think this goes beyond the trolling? Do you think this is just actual kind of malicious deceit on Elon Musk and Tesla's part? Or do you think everyone's just kind of blowing this out of proportion? Because, like I mentioned, we're still 2 years away from this thing being real. And a lot can happen within 2 years. Who knows? Who knows? But I would love to hear from you. GeekTherapy at iHeartMedia.com. I think that's going to do it for tonight. Thanks for listening to the Geek Therapy Radio podcast. Remember that we're all geeks about something. You are worthy of love, both giving and receiving love. Embrace your inner geek, and I'll see you tomorrow.
All my memories gather round her. Minus lady, stranger to blue water. Dark and dusty, painted on the sky. Misty taste of moonshine, teardrop in my eyes. Country roads take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home. Country roads. Take me
Geek Therapy Radio, Saturday night at 10 on KPRC 950. Or listen anytime on our iHeartRadio app.